I always believe there are seasons in life. Seasons to slow down, reminisce, reflect. Seasons to savor every moment. Seasons you wish would last. Then there are the seasons just before change, when you're lost, scrambling, anxious, numb, questioning everything you thought you knew. Finally, there are the seasons where your life just falls into your hands, where you've done enough reminiscing, enough ruminating, enough reflection. When that slow, stagnant river has reached a tumultuous sea where the possibilities are ripe again. Now it is time to make it happen. When we were kids, it was normal to be a beginner, to be bad at things, to do activities just for the sake of fun, to not think about future potential or monetary gain. It did not matter if what you did didn't amount to anything, and you were always growing, always learning. But things aren't so simple anymore. After years of struggle with perfectionism, with the pressure of needing to be better, working harder, creating more, it became difficult to even pick up a pencil sometimes. The creativity and consequent actions that had come so easily to me as a child are now packaged with moments of anxiety and meaninglessness. Even in the act of creating, I often ask myself, is this a good use of my time? Especially if it may not lead to any future prospects, especially if it becomes difficult, imperfect. It's rare for me to be in the zone. I often wonder what it is all for. I feel impatient, I feel bored. Within me still is that anxiety that I'm not doing enough, not improving enough, so that every time I pick up a pencil, I'm reminded of my past failures and indolence. But I believe that life is about finding new ways to live. So in this video, I wanted to share some mindset shifts that have truly helped me just create. These days, I often catch myself thinking about doing things. Oh, I should draw today, should probably finish this script, should read, but I end up mentally allocating a time slot for those things later in the afternoon, later at night. And when those times come, I let life get in the way till my creative promises get squeezed out of my reality and into the fantasy of the next day. Because, well, I have other commitments, don't I? Isn't it a little strange to start carving up a map at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday? Shouldn't I wait till night when my creative juices really get flowing? But I realized if you have time to do it now, just do it, man. Even if it doesn't feel exactly right, even if it does feel somewhat meaningless to write poetry at 2 p.m. on a random afternoon, because chances are you'll skip this precious time slot and fill it with scrolling or 10 other random tasks in order to avoid a commitment that will make you come face to face with yourself. Not writing because you know you haven't improved. Not drawing because your art always falls short. Not running, hiking, dancing because you know you're not in your top physique. There's always some limitation that we're unwilling to face, and so we schedule what really matters to us to the next day and then the next. But all you have is now, so if you have time to do what's important, be ready to just do it. Even if your mind is not ready, command your body to at least take the actions to begin. Make yourself open that sketchbook, go on that walk in the forest, type that first sentence to a book. It may look ugly, it may be bad, it may not even be as fun as you think, but you're here making it happen. And one day you'll realize that you spent your life doing all the things that were important to you, instead of living in anticipation of the day where things will perfectly align. For a very long time, I didn't even know how to love myself through improvement. Change for me was always motivated by a sort of hatred. To exercise, I had to hate my body. To study, I had to feel like I had something to prove. To speak up, I had to feel deeply wronged. I feared loving myself because I thought that meant I'd simply be content and not feel the need to do anything. But your love towards yourself shouldn't derail your motivation or work ethic. A person who loves you will want what's best for you. They'll convince you to do the necessary things, encourage you to take risks, put yourself out there, all without the voice of self-sabotage. You can love yourself just as a good parent will love their child, strict in some moments, generous in others. Kindness and patience will encourage you to show up, to keep trying. And through this continuous practice, I'm able to live in the present rather than the future. I'm able to relish every moment rather than resorting to sacrificing my present, working myself half to death for the next year's harvest, because it's easier to do so than to love where I am now. It is easier to postpone your love for a better version of yourself. One you may convince yourself is easier to love, and so you may feel that you're never enough. Better to start now, better to be brave and be kind to yourself now, because there is no purpose to postponing love, awaiting the day where you're good enough to deserve it. Better to love yourself the whole way through. For each stage of life you're in, you're deserving of it. I used to use my goals and dreams as a way of ensuring safety and happiness, to control and tailor my life in such a way that those things are guaranteed. It started when I was young and lost and without support. It started from being the smart kid, from the pressure that I had to make something great out of it, that I must prove myself in some way. And when I was alone and deeply sad, my gifts became a way for me to crawl out of that hole. Insane goals that guaranteed some semblance of safety in the form of success and validation. A way for me to be noticed. And so, in those dark times when I seemingly had nothing else, my goals became everything. I grew attached to their realization, to an ideal future where everything would be okay. And so I grew anxious. If I did not reach my daily word count, if I didn't draw, if I didn't wake up early, didn't run 12 kilometers, I'd feel guilty. I'd dwell on my failure to adhere to my plans. Because to me, it was not a simple habit lost, a small blunder. To me, it was my emotional safety crumbling. But after all these years, what I've come to realize and what has truly freed me is knowing that those goals I seek will not bring me my ultimate happiness. Knowing that my feelings of joy, safety, and fulfillment are not from passing external forces, such as validation, productivity, or achievements, but from the mentality that I fostered, the ways in which I know how to care for myself. From friends, family, nature, a warm cup of tea, staring at the stars, good music, knowing that I'll always find love and safety within myself if I ever took a moment to look. That I can be content by simply existing, simply trying and failing and being grateful for it all. Finally, I want to end this video by saying that I used to think all these things that I was doing, the exercise, the eating healthy, sleeping early, drawing, writing, socializing, all these things I worked at would be momentary boosts of improvement, that everything would flee my grasp eventually and I would go back to the same miserable person. But to those who feel this right now, who feel that each failed habit and workout regime, each awkward social interaction and poor test is only confirming your worst beliefs about yourself, just know that through this journey, through these efforts, the core of who you are is changing. And eventually all these good habits, the strong mentality, the joy, the love you have for yourself, eventually it will become who you are.